So ultimately, what I saw was an opportunity to help solve a problem. And that problem was doctors are getting older. We have a very valuable asset of organic origin, meaning they've developed a practice and a following based upon their name and their contribution that should be valued. That value should be in exchange. They should be paid. We should create a system that allows us to pay doctors who are leaving and brings in new doctors of similar quality. That means we have to train physicians, we have to grow them, we have to help them, we have to guide them, we have to keep their troubles down, their legal liabilities at bay. And we do that through mentorship. So it's a more global concept than just stick together a bunch of practices. In fact, it has nothing to do with that. It's really taking individualized practices, sharing ideas and concepts, creating a better organization, reducing redundancies, because we all don't need an accountant. We need one accountant for 5 practices. We need one HR for 5 practices. We don't need 5. That is really how I came up with this. And there's a lot to that because I met with businessman after businessman, CEOs and CFOs in various industries to try to understand how I could do what I've done. And I always give eternal credit to my wife. Her family and her associations in business are very well known. And so I took advantage of those connections, getting into offices and speaking with them about our situation and how I could develop our system. I was then introduced to a series of investment bankers who allowed me to negotiate with 19 different private equity companies to find a group that we felt was the best fit for our relationship. And that meant not an overbearing presence. We wanted business guidance with experience. And so we joined a group that has a very small minority ownership, and we are the majority. So we maintain that strength of decision making.
Well, I think it's become very clear in my years of practice that the way medicine is practiced has changed. And when you look at a number of specialties, consolidation is really something that has been happening throughout multiple specialties and throughout the U.S. And there's a lot of advantages to consolidation. And so this is a new area. Cosmetic surgery really is one of the new frontiers of consolidating practices. And so I guess I wanted to be on the front end of that and a pioneer of that. Working together with other surgeons to really provide the highest level of care is something that's exciting. And the advantages of working as a group in terms of purchasing power, sharing of accounting services, HR services, all of these things that as a small practice you can offer, but not to maybe the degree of professionalism and the efficiency that you can get when you're a bigger organization. And so that's been exciting to get Olympus off the ground and to provide this next level of care to patients, but with the benefits of having a team of people to run ideas past and to grow the practice. Additionally, for me, I'm not anywhere near retirement, but you do want to look to the future. And the people coming out of training these days are coming out of training with a lot of debt. And the ability for a young surgeon to come and purchase your practice and take over your business, the opportunities are there, but they're certainly, it's not easy for them. And so being a part of a bigger organization allows you to eventually just, hand over your practice to a new and upcoming surgeon. And as you wind your practice down. And so for me, it was an opportunity, I think, to look to the future and transition and plan for retirement.
So for me, Olympus Cosmetic Surgery represents the future, without question. I see people navigating from high financial burden immediately exiting school to fellowship training and alliance with our group, with a career with our group. We've created vehicles to help them pay off their student loans. maintain significant reductions in personal expense to build their loyalty and allegiance to our company. And I think that's profound. That's altruistic. We want the best for them because they are the future. I'm not the future. They are the future. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
I have my time and my place, and then ultimately those younger people are going to step in. So we want to create the absolute best environment where people want to be there. They are proud to wear on their sleeve Olympus, by Olympus, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what that represents to me is the future. That means that they're super proud, they want to be part of it, and they tell their friends, dude, you got to join this. These guys are great.
So I think the vision for Olympus is really recruiting practices that are really at the top of their game. We're looking for high-level people to partner with, and we want our platform to be known as the place to go for cosmetic surgery. And so it's not just pairing up and grouping together any practices. It's really trying to pair with some of the best people in the industry.
Fielding of information has come from now multiple sources. So I have doctors calling me from Atlanta, medical assistants, nurses, office administrators, inventory management people, software experts. I've got accountants with a misunderstanding about an expense line item, and I have to review all that stuff. Whew. That is in addition to my other life. My other life is surgery, and for what I get paid. So that hasn't changed, except I do more surgery than ever. So I've increased my work volume on a technical basis. I've put increasing pressure on myself and our systems to do better, to improve patient satisfaction, to evaluate areas of dissatisfaction to our patients and to our staff. And we're doing that better, and everything is accelerated.
Well, I think as far as how the day-to-day has changed, I'm still doing surgery the way I always have. So that's really not changed a whole lot. But I think the big benefit has come where I'm able to provide better benefits for my staff in terms of 401k and healthcare. I'm able to have human resources available to handle some of these staff concerns, whereas before a lot of that was put on my plate. And in the accounting, we have our books in a very up-to-date fashion and very accurate because we have very dedicated accountants looking at all those numbers. So you can take a look at how your practice is doing in a very accurate fashion at any point in time.
Things have changed. When I came into practice, I had no debt, no school debt. I had no financial restrictions that kept me from buying a home or a practice. And so I could go to a bank as a doctor, and they suddenly roll out their red carpet because you're a doctor, and they give you the opportunity to leverage or to get debt financing. So I would go ahead and ask for a loan. And when I did that, I could get $5 million. And that is an entirely different situation than today. So doctors today leave school with massive burdens, an inability to buy a home. They have to rent for years and years and years because they have $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 of debt. They've in effect bought a home, but without a home. So that's the cost of education. When I meet with doctors, when I meet with practices, never am I thinking, how can I take advantage of this situation? What I'm thinking is, how can this person fit into the vision of the success of the platform?
Well, I think Olympus would really be the first choice that any young surgeon would want to look at. because our platform is really geared to pairing with some of the best practices in the nation. And so the ability to join these types of practices and have the mentorship from surgeons that are dedicated solely to cosmetic surgery, I think is a fabulous opportunity. But in addition to that, the pay that we're offering these young surgeons coming out and the benefits that they're able to have, I think are outstanding. And I think the ability to transition into a partnership role is also something that's really exciting for a new surgeon. And, and I guess really the big benefit is, they're not having to buy into a practice and have out of pocket money from a bank to become a part of this organization.
We have an opportunity for people to realize the true equity and value within their practices, but it's no free lunch. Their contribution will be mandated. Their participation will be integral to the success of our platform. And we want it to be. We don't want them to think this is an exit and a way out. That is definitely not the person we want as part of our platform. So we have a couple different pathways to success within our group. That is willing, understanding, truthfulness. And so we start with just laying it all out. Well, I think you're in a great demographic area. I think you've got a long-term successful practice. I see that in the next 10 years, you may be exiting your practice, but you've got a 10-year runway, as we like to say. So that means revenue. That means something we can calculate. That means something we can plan on, and we can help them achieve those goals or grow.
Well, for an experienced driven surgeon that's just looking for a new location, I would say, the same as I would for a young surgeon. I mean, we are a platform that is dedicated to cosmetic surgery, and we're paired with successful people that are doing this already very well. So, an experienced surgeon looking to join a platform that's already got a number of successful surgeons, I think, is a great opportunity. Um, the big advantage, of course, is you can be a successful surgeon focusing just on the surgery instead of having to run your business. And so I think that's the opportunity for a really motivated, successful surgeon that just is like tired of running their own show.
The tremendous emotional and intellectual challenges that come up from smart, highly intelligent, highly educated people is the ultimate challenge. It's the ultimate challenge. It has exceeded my expectations in that challenge. So communication, ideal communication is the goal, and it's not realized. You can never be perfect. The words you choose, the lines you write in an email, the value of what you're saying, and realizing with empathy the person who's receiving it and how they're receiving it is critical to every single statement. So the intensity has been higher than I expected. I would say, second of all, just on a very personal nature, a personal level, my ability to adapt to it has been actually better than I expected.
The biggest surprise, I think, for starting Olympus is the amount of work that it takes to bring practices together to actually become consolidated, not just in the financials, but in the way we practice, respecting the unique differences of all the different surgeons that we have. We don't expect everybody to practice the same way, but we do want to sort of have a best practices mentality. And so really coming up with that and getting everybody on board it's taken a lot of work to get to this point. But now that we have this critical mass of people and staff, both in our head office and all of our accounting team, things are really coming together, and now we're really seeing the progress forward.
It's not for everybody. It may be a wonderful opportunity for a very positive midlife crisis. Um, if a person is seeking intellectual stimulation, which I do, I always remember going to college and that excitement and the opportunity to walk into a new environment and no one knows you and to prove yourself, um, to learn from others and to take forward that information and to transfer it to others is maybe what life is all about. So this is a great opportunity for a restart, a recheck, a start over, a redo, or a corrective direction that leads to not only a positive influence on a day-to-day basis and enjoyment of life, but also a financial transaction, which can be beneficial. I'm careful about that. I try not very hard not to focus too much on the money, but there is money to be had, and but it's only when appropriate. Because remember, if there's an imbalance, the risk reward, the benefit, what you take versus what you give, it's got to be there. If it's not going to work.
Well, I think, talking to my colleagues about why would they consider, joining Olympus if they have their own practice, I do think it's definitely it's not an easy choice because there's something that we all take pride in building our own practices and being our own bosses of what we do. But I think, there are advantages to consolidation in terms of what we can get in terms of group pricing, um, developing these best practices and learning from each other because we're a team and we're all on the same team. Um, but, just being a part of a bigger organization can really take a lot off of your plate. And you know, I certainly think as we get up in our years in practice, the wear and tear of running your office day to day is something that I think we all would love to kind of take a lot of that off of our plate. And so I think that's really one of the benefits. And then just as we start to think towards retirement, that whole transition plan and how is that going to be done? Uh, Working with a big organization like this is really beneficial in terms of trying to help you with that transition. And so I think that's really where the advantages lie.